Hello YouTube. In this video I'm going to show you how to install MediaWiki with VisualEditor and two-factor authentication on board for ease of use and better account security. Before you start following this tutorial, please go to debian.org, download their ISO and install it if you haven't done so already. I'm not going to cover the Debian 10 installation itself, because you can find a lot of tutorials on that. Before we start, we need to make sure that our backend is ready. I'll leave all commands in the description below in case you'd like to follow the guide step by step. I will be running my tutorial VM inside the VirtualBox, but the process is the same for any other hypervisor or bare metal install. Debian repos already hold MediaWiki long-term support release, so we can easily install it with apt. At this stage, we need our package manager to go out and get some packages installed for us. Follow me and pause in case you cannot catch up. So the first step would be to SSH into our server. And then change to root user. Mind you, this is a default Debian installation. I didn't import my SSH keys and I didn't set it up to my liking. This VM is only for the tutorial purposes and it will be deleted after I finish the tutorial. Let's go ahead and install the MediaWiki package along with some dependencies. It will take some time for this to finish, so I'll come back when it's ready. Now when this is done, Node.js and parsoid is required for our VisualEditor to work. Let's just go ahead and install that. I like my VisualEditor to work, so I'll just grab these dependencies and install them real quick so we don't face any kind of issues in the future. And now another set of dependencies. Yep. Now the parsoid itself. You can safely ignore these warning messages because this setup will work regardless. Okay, now when this is ready, we need to configure our database. First of all, let's harden our MySQL a bit. Okay, this is done. Let's switch to MySQL and create a database named MediaWiki test. Now we need to create a user that will be linked to our database. We really don't want to give MediaWiki permissions to the MySQL root user. This is just a random username, and I suggest you use a random one as well. This password is not very secure. I recommend using at least 35 to 40 characters password. Then we need to give our new user permissions to our new database. And at this point, it's ready. Let's just exit MySQL. Okay, for now, our backend setup is ready. Next step would be to go to the web browser and type in IP address of your MediaWiki server, which in my case 172.24.2443, and MediaWiki. All right, let's minimize this. LocalSettings.php not found. Please set up the wiki first. This is completely normal. Click on Set up the wiki first link. Choose your language and click Continue. Just hit Continue. Okay, we need to connect to the database. So our database name is MediaWiki test. Then come up with some random prefix plus underscore. Database username is our random username and then our random password. Let's minimize the terminal. Click Continue. Click Continue. All right. Now we just need to give our Wikipedia a name. Here you can set up the main administrator account. For the purposes of this video, I'll use the same account everywhere, but I strongly recommend you set up a completely separate account with your username that would have less permissions than the main admin account. Okay, now when we have this filled in, I recommend you subscribe to the release announcement. MediaWiki team sends list of active vulnerabilities and list of new MediaWiki releases. I know that it might be a bit frustrating if you are an impatient person, but we need to keep this option active. It will give us some options to install additional extensions without a headache of going to the MediaWiki website and grabbing them from there and going through the documentation. So this would be a much simpler option in the long run. Make sure you chose Ask Me More Questions, please. Then hit Continue. So this option is asking you what type of wiki are you setting up, and usually when you are setting up a self-hosted wiki, you want to go with private wiki. It only allows approved users to view or edit the pages. If this wiki is for your internal documentation, I would suggest go with private wiki option. You can choose your license, which we're not going to do for demo purposes. Then we want to select all of the additional special pages and code editor. We don't need any of these. We need PDF handler. We don't need spam prevention because this is a private wiki, but in case you're setting up the public one, you can tick some of these options. In the other section, I recommend choosing two options. Multimedia viewer is really self-explanatory. And the last option will give you a multi-factor login functionality, which will increase your MediaWiki security a whole lot. We want to enable file uploads and PHP object caching, which is chosen by default. Hit continue. Hit continue again. Okay, so I recommend going through these bullet points and checking if everything was done. If not, rerun the setup. But in our case, everything is ready to go. Hit continue. Okay, so as you can see, our MediaWiki was installed. The web browser installer has generated a LocalSettings.php file. This file contains all of your configuration from top to bottom. Now what you have to do is to open this file and transfer it to our MediaWiki server. In order to transfer the file, we need to open up a terminal and run the next command: nano, etc. MediaWiki LocalSettings.php. I have already copied in the file, but your will be blank. The only thing you need to do is to select the text inside your text editor, copy it, and then paste it inside nano. Hit Ctrl X and then answer yes to save the file. Go back to your web browser and click enter your wiki. There you have it. MediaWiki is installed. This is a very basic setup, and we need to configure it further. So let's go ahead and log in. After the initial logging, you can see that there's not much going on inside of the default MediaWiki installation. And the only way to edit the pages is the markup language or the source editing. And if you're going to hand over this MediaWiki installation to someone else who is not technical, they will be having a hard time managing the pages or editing the pages. So for that purpose, we will install VisualEditor. To grab any of the extensions for MediaWiki, we have to go to their website first. You can type in mediawiki.org and it will take you there. If not, just Google MediaWiki and get to their main page. When you are here on the main page, click on Get Extensions and scroll a bit down to the See Also section. We want to click on this link, Extension Distributor. Now, there are a lot of extensions to choose from, but at this point, we're only interested in the VisualEditor extension. At the date this video was published, Debian 10 comes with MediaWiki 131 long-term release pre-installed, so we want to choose that from the option list and just hit continue. After a few seconds, you will see that website offers you to download the extension on your computer. What we're gonna do instead is just copy the link and download it directly to our MediaWiki server. Now when the download is done, you can see that the VisualEditor is here, but it's inside the archive. So we have to unpack it first. Okay, great. Our VisualEditor folder was extracted from the archive. Now when it's extracted, we can go back to VisualEditor extension page. And it will give us some instructions how to properly install it. We did not install MediaWiki manually, so we need to figure out where our extensions folder is first. For that, we have to type in update db and then locate our extensions folder. So as you can see, our extensions folder is at this location. If you cd to that directory and make sure that this is in fact our extensions directory, you'll see category 3 and all of the other extensions in here. Now we need to move our visual editor into this folder. Let's double check and make sure it's here. Now we just need to change permissions on this folder. After that, we have to edit our LocalSettings.php file to enable the extension. You don't have to change anything in here. It should work by default. Let's just save the file and try to refresh the page. Okay, it still works, but we have a new option now to edit the page. At this stage of the installation, it failed to edit the page because we don't have parsoid running. Parsoid installations are not consistent, and we need to figure out where our parsoid working directory is first. To do that, type in locate parsoid in your terminal. And as you can see, we have located our parsoid working directory. Let's just cd there. What we have to do now is copy the config example into proper config file, which can be done like so. And then we only need to edit few lines in it. So change the URI to your MediaWiki installation URI. In my case, it's 172.24.24.43. Then MediaWiki API.php. And remove the domain part. Exit and save the file. Now get back to the VisualEditor official web page and find linking with parsoid section. We need to copy this text first and insert it inside the LocalSettings.php. The only thing we need to change is the domain section. Change it to your MediaWiki server address. In my case, it's 172.24.24.43. Now exit and save. Now, if we start our parsoid, whoops, typo. I'm sorry, npm start. So as you can see, we received an error. Your wiki requires a logged in account to access API. So what happened is parsoid doesn't have access to our wiki pages because it's private. If it was public, we wouldn't have this problem, but because our wiki is private, we need to tweak some settings inside LocalSettings.php. Go back to the VisualEditor official page and scroll down a bit more. So find the section with parsoid authentication without forwarding cookies. And go to option 2, adapt how permissions are set. Copy this section, go back to your terminal, stop the parsoid, and edit your localsettings.php file again. Now go to the end of your file and paste in the configuration from the web page. Change the local server IP address to your real server IP address. Exit and save. And now we should be good to go. With npm start, we start our parsoid. Go back to our wiki page, hit edit button, and there you have it. Our visual editor is installed, up and running. We can insert a media. We can do all kinds of stuff. And it's much easier to add it with Visual Editor than it is with source editing. After following the tutorial, you will quickly discover that killing your SSH session also kills your parsoid instance. So in order to overcome this issue, I have two workarounds. You can run your parsoid with and symbol at the end. And this is useful when you want to start your parsoid with cron job when the server starts, but on a fresh installation, you still might have some problems. My solution in the fresh installation is to run parsoid inside the tmux session. So if you run tmux and then do npm start, as you can see, our visual editor is running. Then what you have to do is hit Control B for Bravo and press D for Delta. After that, your tmux session will be detached, but still running in the background with parsoid online. I can go to my wiki page, hit edit button, and it's running just fine. Type in tmux a and you're back in with all of your logs on top, so you don't have to mess around with any other log files and things like that. So again, to detach the session, we need to hit Control B and then D. You can find out more about tmux in man pages or using --help option. So the last step for this video would be configuring the two-factor authentication for our main admin profile to enhance the account security and prevent bad actors from brute forcing the password. We've already activated the 2FA plugin a few minutes ago during the MediaWiki initial configuration, and the only thing that's left to do is go to Preferences and click on Enable Two-Factor Authentication. Please keep in mind it only supports time-based tokens, so you'll have to use something like Google Authenticator or free OTP to activate it. Just scan the QR code, go to step 4 and type in the number from your TOTP app. Let me just do it on my phone. So after you scan the code and you have the verification number, just type it in here. Click Submit. And validate two-factor credentials. It's now enforced. So now let's log out and see if it works. So after I've entered my password, it's now asking me for a time-based token, which indeed confirms that we are good to go. Okay, and I'm in. That's it for this video. Please like and subscribe. We are really passionate about the technology and sharing the knowledge, and your support is what gets us even more motivated. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.